President Biden says enough is enough, and he made an impassioned plea to Congress in an address on rising gun violence in this country. In a primetime address, President Biden calling for a new assault weapons ban on top of other new gun restrictions. This follows the mass shootings in Uvalde, Texas, and Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now, in these attacks, the gunmen did use AR-15 style weapons. In a rare and symbolic display, the president speaking with a backdrop of 56 candles, representing all 50 states and 6 U.S. territories to signal how gun violence has impacted the entire country. Allison Harris live at the White House with the president's urgent appeal. Allison.
Adrian, what an image that was, those candles lit as he walked toward the podium there. There have been 20 mass shootings in this country since Uvalde, 20. The president recognizes he cannot take action alone. The president clearly very much impacted emotionally since his visit to the elementary school where 19 children were killed. He knows that he needs Congress to act, to have more meaningful measures to address what has become a public safety problem in America. President Biden in a rare primetime address urging Congress to act on guns.
After Columbine, after Sandy Hook, after Charleston, after Orlando, after Las Vegas, after Parkland, nothing has been done. This time that can't be true. This time we must actually do something. We need to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. And if we can't ban assault weapons, then we should raise the age to purchase them from 18 to 21. Strengthen background checks. Enact safe storage law and red flag laws. Repeal the immunity that protects gun manufacturers from liability. Address the mental health crisis, deepening the trauma. These are rational, common sense measures.
An all-out assault weapons ban is unlikely. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy and Republican Senator John Cornyn are in talks, leading efforts to find common ground. Republican Senator Susan Collins says they're making rapid progress. Murphy is willing to settle for more modest accomplishments on gun control. President Biden calling Cornyn a rational Republican who could be on board. What is on the table are red flag laws, background checks, and safe storage of guns. Thursday, ahead of the president's speech, the House Judiciary Committee passed some of the proposals mentioned by the president, like raising the legal age to buy certain rifles from 18 to 21.
We are painfully aware that we cannot do enough today to save all of these lives, but that each life we save is an entire world.
House Republicans calling it political theater.
This is not a real attempt, in my judgment, to find solutions.
A Florida representative even showcasing his own guns during debate.
This magazine would be banned under this current bill. I'm at my house. I can do whatever I want with my guns.
The House measures are not expected to pass the Senate. Window for an agreement in the Senate is short. 10 Senate Republicans would have to sign on.
Let us finally do something.
Some see the president's remarks last night as a sign that these talks truly are productive, that they really are moving forward. The president wanting to get ahead of a possible end to this 30-year logjam on gun reform. Others believe the president should stay out of the negotiations entirely, shouldn't be speaking on this, concerned that he could discourage Republicans from being willing to negotiate on this.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.